mungkin boleh agak dibesarin
Apa?
layarnya. Okay. Then I'll start the presentation, okay? Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to Ma'am Ati and all of my friends. Today we are from Group 6. I'm Adinda Putranoviana and I'm here with my friend Richard Gautama. We're going to present you material about kinds of clauses. Richard, you may go to the first page. Sorry.
Okay. First, what is clause? Clause is comprised of a group of words that includes a subject and a finite verb. It contains only one subject and one verb. The subject of clause can be mentioned or hidden, but the verb must be apparent and indistinguishable. Clauses are what make up a sentence. They are a group of words that contain a subject and verb, like I've been said before. They can be main clause, coordinate clause, or subordinate clause. Sentence-wise, a clause can be made into compound sentence if there are two main clause merged into one, and then or complex sentence where there are one main clause and one dependent clause or subordinate clause, or compound complex sentence where there are two main clause and one dependent clause. Basic form of clause. There are three basic forms of clause that can be used in sentence. This includes a main independent clause, a subordinate clause, the adjective clause, and the noun clause. While the independent clause could be used by itself as a complete sentence, the subordinate clause could not. For it to be correct, it would need to be paired with another clause. When the man suggests where the man broke into a house, the dog barked at him. From this sentence, when the man broke into the house is the subordinate clause, and the dog barked at him is the main clause. For more complete explanation, subordinate clause is unlike a main clause. It needs a little help to make sense, as they are often referred to as dependent clause. Subordinate clause can stand alone as a complete sentence, even though it contains a subject and verb, because it doesn't have a complete thought. It doesn't make sense on its own. In fact, there is incomplete information inside that should add it into it. It has to be linked to the main clause using subordinate conjunction. For example, sitting happily, the chicken laid egg. Sitting happily is the subordinate clause, and the chicken laid eggs is the main one. On the other hand, the chicken who was busy laying eggs sat happily. Uh, the who was busy laying eggs is the subordinate clause-nya, clause-nya ya, dan sat happily juga itu ini itu adjective clause. Itu akan dilanjutkan oleh Indah penjelasan selanjutnya.
Okay, thank you so much, Richard. So the next type of clauses is main clause. A main clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb and can form a complete sentences on its own. Main clauses are also often referred to as an independent clauses, as they don't need any additional information to make sense. They can stand alone perfectly fine without the support of another clause that expresses a complete thought. So here are the example of the main clause. So there are three, sorry. First is the cat moved, his car broke down at the station, and the girl laughed loudly. Okay. So main clause is similar to subordinate clause, and adjective clause is an independent, the main clause consists of two main clauses or a main clause and another type of clause. And when there is only one main clause and another different type of clause, the second clause depends on the main clause to make sense. Okay, next slide, please. Anyway guys, maaf sebelumnya apa suara saya putus-putus?
Jelas kok, Din.
Okay. And kalau slide PPT-nya udah ganti belum nih kalian?
Udah di coordinate clause.
Oh ya, oke. Maaf ya, soalnya aku baru ganti karena sinyal aku agak lemot, so bear with me guys. Thank you. Okay, so the next type of clauses is coordinate clause. A coordinate clause is made when you connect two independent, slide-nya hilang. Okay, so a coordinate clause is made when you connect two independent clauses that are of equal importance. These clauses are connected by coordinating conjunction. Similar to subordinate clauses, coordinate clauses also combines two sentences, so it can be difficult to get the difference between them right. So here are the example. Sitting happily, the chicken laid eggs. The chicken who was busy laying eggs sat happily. There are the example that I didn't put on the PowerPoint. And the other is you can feed the dog or you can wash the dishes. They have homework to do, yet they keep putting it off. Okay, so next, please. Okay, so the next is adjective clauses. An adjective clause begins with a relative pronoun such as whom, whose, which, or that, or a relative adverb like when, where, or why. This type of clause includes a relative pronoun or adverb alongside a subject and or a verb. Here are the example of main adjective clauses. Sorry, I did some typo there. The book which has the dragon on the cover is my favorite. The stray cat that I pet sometimes is friendly. Okay, next. Okay, the next is noun clause. A noun clause is any clause that works in the same way as a noun. In other words, you could replace the clause with a noun and it will still make sense. Noun clauses act in the same way as a noun or pronoun. It contains a subject and a verb, but not a complete thought, so it cannot stand as its own sentences. The example for it is, do you know where the cafe is? The cafe where I work is just over there. Okay, next. Okay, so the next is adverb clause. An adverb clause is a dependent clause that doesn't make sense on its own. It relies on another independent clause to make sense. An adverb clause offers a description and modifies the sentences similar to how an adverb does. It contains a subject and a verb, but it doesn't express a complete doubt. So the example for it, for the adverb clause is she walked slowly. She walked like an old lady. Next.
Alright, thank you for your attention. Now we're going to direct you to the video. Wait a moment. Apakah sudah terlihat?
Sudah.
Richard, I'm sorry, but I cannot hear the sound.
Oh, wait. Apa udah terdengar?
Richard, I think you are in the wrong mode of screen sharing. For the in order to the voice to be hearable, you need to share the tab instead of the window.
Tab.
Yes, share the tab instead of the window. It's different.
The entire screen.
No. Tab. Select tab and then select the YouTube link. And then yeah, it will be hearable. So
Gimana Ki? Oh,
ada tabnya tuh, ada tiga seluruh layar, jendela sama tab. Kamu pilih yang tab, nanti kamu pilih yang YouTube. Udah.
nggak ada tab, cuma ada window and itu.
Really?
Cuma ada window dan entire screen.
Ya udah kasih link aja ke aku, ntar aku yang share screen aja.
Udah dikirim Ki.
Oke, bentar.
Eller TV från 99 kronor i månaden. Samla allt på ett ställe och få förmåner. Besök närmsta Tele2-butik, tele2.se eller ring 90 111. Tele2, obegränsad.
Paket bu. Belanja sampai begah, tapi nabungnya ogah. Terlalu. Belanja seperlunya, nabung reksadana di Bibit. Mulai dari 100.000, cocok untuk darah muda.
Have you ever played this game with wooden blocks? My children and I like playing it sometimes. It's all about achieving balance and thinking about placement. If you fit the blocks together with care, they keep building upwards. But if you rush and get careless, the tower is more likely to fall. This reminds me a bit of grammar and how we fit words together into sentences. Do it with care, and you can build effective sentences. If you rush and get sloppy, however, things can fall apart, and communication isn't so successful. That's why I think it will be helpful to review the kinds of clauses we have in English. Understanding clauses will help you build sentences. If you can build a variety of sentences, then you can accomplish even larger tasks, such as writing clear email or putting together a solid essay or report. If you agree that grammar is a helpful tool to master, be sure you're subscribed to my channel so that you get all my future grammar lessons. Well, let's begin. There are two basic kinds of clauses: independent clauses and dependent clauses. Both kinds have a subject and a verb, but independent clauses can stand alone and make sense. Dependent clauses can't. Can you identify which clauses are independent? These are independent clauses. They can stand alone and form simple sentences. The other clauses are dependent clauses. They fall into the category of fragments. Each dependent clause is only part of a sentence. We have to put a dependent clause together with an independent clause to form a sentence. Now these are complete ideas and they make sense. Independent clauses can follow different patterns, but they all have a subject and a verb. If you'd like to study patterns like subject-verb, subject-verb-object, subject-verb complement, then you can click to watch my lesson on sentence patterns. There are three different types of dependent clauses: noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverb clauses. All three types of dependent clauses must combine with a main clause or an independent clause to form a complete sentence. When we put a dependent clause together with an independent clause, we get a complex sentence. We can put dependent and independent clauses together in various combinations to get compound sentences, complex sentences, and even complex compound sentences. It helps to be familiar with these combinations because then you can achieve variety in your writing. If you'd like to review simple, compound, complex, and complex compound sentences, check out the video description. I'm going to include some useful links. There'll be a link to my website, and there's a page with some useful videos to improve your writing. Let's talk about noun clauses first. One kind of noun clause is an embedded question, or a WH clause. These noun clauses start with a question word, and of course they have a subject and a verb. As a whole unit, a noun clause functions like a noun. That means an embedded question can be a subject, an object of a verb, an object of a preposition, and even a compliment. If you need to review embedded questions, then click on the link. I'll also put links to related lessons in the video description. Another type of noun clause is a that clause. We commonly use that clauses as objects of verbs, and when we do, we often omit the word that. Check out these examples.
I know that there's a way to solve the puzzle. He thinks that he's so smart. I found out that he looked up the solution online. We pretend that we don't know the truth.
We see that clauses after reporting verbs. We also use that clauses as subject and adjective complements.
Here are more examples. She said that she has some fun brain teasers to show us. The funny thing is that she hasn't been able to solve any of them. I'm happy that I could teach her at least one solution.
Okay, onward to adjective clauses. Hopefully, you've seen my series on this topic, so you know how to form adjective clauses and where to place them. Just like noun clauses function like nouns, well, adjective clauses basically function like adjectives. They describe or modify nouns or pronouns. The big difference is position. Single word adjectives can appear before a noun or after a linking verb. But an adjective clause has to follow the head noun as closely as possible. Recall that there are two types of adjective clauses: identifying and non-identifying. Identifying clauses, also known as restrictive clauses, are necessary. We need them to identify the head noun. We use no commas with these identifying or restrictive clauses. Non-identifying clauses, or non-restrictive clauses, give additional information that could be left out. We set these clauses off with commas when we write them, or we drop our pitch when we say them. Note that adjective clauses are also called relative clauses, and we use relative pronouns and relative adverbs to build them. I know I'm using a lot of grammar terminology right now, but I think you can follow along, especially with the help of all the examples, right? Okay, let's move on to the final type of dependent clause.
Halo, aku Ren Fatia, lagi kuliah di Praha, Republik Ceko.
Adverb clauses, or as some say, adverbial clauses, allow us to add information about things like time and reason. Adverb clauses answer questions just like adverbs: how much, when, where, why. Remember, all this additional information doesn't make sense alone. An adverb clause is a fragment until it combines with a main clause. Another term you may hear when people talk about a dependent clause is a subordinate clause. It's the same thing. The prefix sub means below or under. A subordinate clause must hook up with a main clause, an independent clause, to make sense. Adverb clauses are examples of subordinate clauses. They have subordinating conjunctions. Those are connecting words like after, before, because, if. Here are different types of adverb clauses. This is not meant to be a complete list of all subordinating conjunctions, but I'll show you a good variety.
I won't be happy until I solve that puzzle. As soon as I do, I'll let you know. I had to ask for help since I couldn't do it myself. I asked Kathy for help because she's really smart. You can work on this puzzle anywhere you want. I concentrated so hard that I got a headache. You can do as you wish. She can solve a Rubik's Cube faster than anyone else I've seen. If you want, I can give you a hint. Although I'm frustrated, I want to figure it out on my own. While it may take an expert a couple of minutes to solve the puzzle, I know I'll need a few weeks. Here are more subordinating conjunctions to form adverb clauses. Remember, this is not a complete list.
Adverb clauses have some flexibility within a sentence. They can come before or after the main clause. If the adverb clause is first, we use a comma to separate the two clauses. If the adverb clause is second, we usually write the sentence without a comma between the two clauses. Something that adverb clauses and adjective clauses have in common is that they can both be reduced to phrases. If you'd like some practice reducing adverb clauses, click on the link to my other lesson. I'll also put the link in the video description. Okay, let's see how well you followed. Take a short quiz to review.
What kind of clause can stand alone as a complete sentence? An independent clause. What do all clauses have? A subject and a verb. How can we fix a fragment? For example, when I was younger. We join it with an independent clause. I used to play that game when I was younger. Which clauses can be the object of a verb? Noun clauses. They function like nouns. For example, you promised that it would be easy. When do adjective clauses need commas? When they give additional information that could be left out. She has a collection of brain teasers, all of which she can easily solve. Note how there's a pause and I drop my pitch slightly when I say that non-restrictive clause. What kinds of words help us form adverb clauses and connect them to independent clauses? Subordinating conjunctions. They include if, because, since, while, although.
So how did you do? I hope you found it helpful to study grammar with me. Please like this video if you think it's important to develop your
Sponsor of English with
So that's the video Richard gave me.
Okay, thank you so much, Iki. From group 6, that's the only video for the materials. So now we can go to the quiz. Okay, I will start the, I will share the link. Wait. also the code for the quiz.